Welcome, my name is Jack, and this is Endless Legend. This is the start of a new series on the channel, and it's a game that I've been enjoying so much. I've put about 5 hours into it so far. As you can see here, I'm at the turn 84, and what this game is, it's a turn-based strategy game. Now, on first appearances, it looks a lot like the Sid Meier's Civilization series and games like that. But when you start playing it, there are little things with it that just stand out to me as being so much smoother and just more enjoyable. There are some features which have been simplified, and to me, I'm like, yes, that's just so much easier to deal with. It's so much more interesting. But then it goes quite diverse in other areas, and especially in terms of factions the game has. They're so different from each other. And so I'll give you a quick 30-second overview and review about what I love about the game, and then we'll jump into starting a new series. But what the game is, it's a 4X strategy game. If you haven't heard of the 4X's, it's 4 words with X in them, but then again they all start with E, so I don't know why it's not the 4EX. But anyway, you explore a territory, you then expand your land out, you exploit every opportunity, and then you exterminate people who oppose you. So those are the 4X's, the 4 areas of the game. And what I love about Endless Legend compared to Civilization is that the interface is just gorgeous, and when you'll see it, it just works so well. And I will point out right now that the interface here is actually about double, or probably about 1 and a bit. It's a little bit bigger than what it's used to. I have an option turned on in the interface here for big screens, and that's what I've got on just because when I record at 720p, but I'm playing at 1080p, and when it gets scaled down, it'd be quite hard for you guys to read the words, and it should come out all right. I'll see how it looks at the end of this episode, but if it should make it a lot easier for you guys to read, and that's the main thing. This game also, if I go to the video, it runs beautifully. I'm on the beautiful, I'm not up to fantastic sadly yet, but I got anti-aliasing turned on, which is incredible. And the game is gorgeous to look at. And then the performance of it is incredible as well, and that's awesome. And then just the gameplay itself, just a lot more satisfying. The factions, as I mentioned earlier, so much more diverse. Some of the factions, like in Civilization, they're just kind of different nations, they have different starting units. But on this one here, they're in a faction that can teleport around the map with teleport units. There's one that can only have 1 base, but can absorb, and one that only uses money, has no life. They're really quite different, and playing it with each race would be a very different game. So we're going to jump in, we're going to start a new campaign, and what we're going to do, if I click on this button here, is we're going to play with the Windwalkers. Now the Windwalkers are one of the 8 races that we can pick. Now they're kind of the vanilla race. They're not that different from other games. But the reason why I'm going to play as them is that because I think we want to spend some time learning the new concepts, and I want to run through them with you. I think that would be more interesting playing with a vanilla guy, just so we can get used to the game. I've played 5 hours, but I've actually never finished the game yet. And then once we've done that campaign, we'll do a small campaign. We'll play a much larger campaign with one of these other races. So these guys, main victory type is by wonder. We've got guys who win by expansion or science, economy, a different type of science, and they're all very different in the way that they do things and approach things. And then there's even the ability here to generate your own type of faction as well. Maybe you could look at that at some point. Now, more than these races, much like Civilization, there's minor factions, and those, it's a myth, hopefully you've got this idea. It's quite mythical based, it's fantasy, but an amazing universe of different personalities and abilities. So we're going to run with the Windwalkers. They're essentially, I would say they're elves nature inspired. We've got rangers, we've got shamans, and then we've got this Tenai walker? I have no idea how to pronounce any of these things, but what we'll see is these things are actually massive. We'll probably see a screenshot of them later. These things are like 20 stories tall compared to these humans. They look tiny in that picture, but actually the scale is massive. So I'm going to select as these guys, and we're going to be playing on, if we go to the world size here, small for 4. What we do, we might just run with a tiny game with can we fit 3 people on a tiny world size? Yeah, we'll do that. Make the game a bit more aggressive and hopefully finish sooner. So it's going to be quite tiny. I've played on the small one, which is 50 by 70. We'll play on the small one, which is 30 by 50. We'll leave it on the world as a single landmass, and it's going to randomly generate one for us, which is pretty neat. The continents will be more rounded or curved in shape without internal seas or great changes of altitude. But you can change it, and there's full customization settings for everything about like the river, how many rivers there are, to where empires spawn. An amazing amount of detail. And when we do our full campaign, I'm going to put out asking you guys questions. What do you want to see? What would you like to see in this? And I think this should make it really quite interesting. We're going to have normal game speed and normal difficulty. There is a large range of difficulties there. I think normal is going to be a good one. If the British had been like this, the US would still be a colony. Well, that's an interesting way of describing it. 3 people. They'll be random. AI, random colors will be the blue Wind Wakers. Let's get straight into it. And here's these massive guys. Look at the size of them over the ranges down there. And it's just... I'm so happy to be playing more of this game.
It is coming.
I got a quick intro video.
I am convinced. Now I must convince the others. We have seen the longer winters. We have felt the limits of the sharing. Our planet is changing.
And the planet's Aruga?
We must change.
And all the factions are vying for control of it.
Leave the forest. Start again. Explore and reach out. We must find new ways. Adapt. Learn. For if not, we will perish. And that will not happen.
And the artwork and design, I wear the crown, is so beautiful. And then the music is just my favorite part of it all. I just love listening to the music. And the game is, it was an early access. Oh, the interface, we'll get to it in a moment. What was I talking about? It wasn't early access. It was being developed. It wasn't Steam. I think it wasn't Steam Early Access, but on their website you could have got it as it developed, and you could have see it being developed. And I think the company that makes these games, they also made Endless Space and Dungeon of the Endless, I'm pretty sure it's called. They ask for contributions on how to change things and whatnot. But now it's out on the full release, and I don't know if there'll be any more DLC or extra patches yet. I haven't looked into it too much in that side of the community. But there's a very feature-rich game here. Also, you can play multiplayer as well. So, actually, I'll minimize this and open it in a moment. This is the interface, and if I'm going to zoom out, we've got this beautiful tile-based interface. And the cool thing is you can actually set to how rigid the landscape sticks to the tiles. And I've got it on the normal setting, which is like, it kind of, you can see there's tiles there. I can actually put on the mode there, but you can see that they don't match up. And that just makes it, even though it's a whole hexagon-based landscape, it just makes it feel more natural, and that is neat. Now, the cool thing is when you zoom out, you get this awesome map view, and I can zoom out all the way, and it can show me the districts. And the districts are important, and we'll get to them in a moment. The world, oh yeah, but it's not very high. All right, and as we zoom in, you get that awesome transition between the different types. I love that. It's really, really neat. So we start off with a hero, and some units, and a settler. Now the hero is something that's really cool about this series. You can customize a hero unit, and even the units in terms of their inventory and what they will spawn, or create it or spawn with. And that gives just so much creativity to how you want your troops to be designed, which is quite cool. Now the interface is a lot bigger than what I'm used to. It wouldn't take up this much of the screen, but remember I've got the extra interface size turned on just so you can see the words a bit clearer. So what we need to do is we need to found our first settlement. Now, settler can do that, we can colonize, and there's a couple of things we need to take into account while doing this. Now, unlike Civilization, nearly called it Settlers of Catan, unlike Civilization, where you could build as many towns as you want, and the region was based on the town. This game works a bit differently. What we do is we have regions, and you can see one here called Larsle. I have no idea how to pronounce that. And it's this region. I can't even see the side of it. And I can see there's a couple other regions over here as well. There's one there. That's one there. Now, you can have one town per region. And the person who takes the region first conquers the whole region. You won't get one side everywhere, but it'll be yours, and no one else can take it until they've taken your town within it. And the town can grow to, they could eventually take up the whole region, but it will take a very long time for that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to push, oh actually, let's point out something else. I don't actually know, I can't. We'll have to use this interface here. I should turn off the grid is turned off. So what we've got is that tiles produce resources. It might seem a bit overwhelming at the moment, all these numbers, but don't worry, it ain't too bad. There's a couple of resources in this game. First one is food. Food is used to build up the population. Next one is production, this red one here. Production is used, it's not kind of like a resource like wood. It's more of like how much manpower is generated from this. And when you want to build something, say if you want to build a house, that's not what you don't build things like that. But say if it was, let's think of an example. The sewer system, 100 output or 100 manufacture hours it's required. If I had, say 10, it would take me 10 turns. If I did 12, it'd be, oh gosh, now I have to do the math. It would be like 9 turns. But it's not, it doesn't get saved over turns as well. So if you're not producing anything, that just, because it's man hours getting wasted essentially, it doesn't get used for anything. Next up we have money, or called dust. Dust is really important. At the moment we've got 50 bucks and it's going down by our military upkeep and our hero upkeep. So that's the amount we have to pay our hero and our military just for existing. Next is science, this blue stuff. That helps us to generate research into stuff. And much like the manpower manufacturing stuff, I've researched if it's 100 to research it. Actually, I'll jump back to it in a moment. Say this, no, that's a bad example. This one here, it costs 28 research, and currently we're generating none, so it's going to be actually infinite amount of time. But if it were producing like 5, then we'll probably have it done in about 6 turns. Cool. Now, the last one is influence, and we generate that from our cities and other special buildings, and that's what we can use. It's this one here. We can use to make decisions and do, what is it, like trading? No, it's not trading. It's when you talk to other people. Diplomatic relations. And that's when you can't just do them for free. You need to have so much influence to say, I want to have a treaty, or I want to insult you, or I want to compliment you, stuff like that. Quite interesting. Now what we want to do is when we put down our settlement, we can put it down, and then this is what I love about compared to Civilization. In Civilization, you had to build a worker unit, and then you'd go to every tile and build something on it so it would be worked. This one here, it's not like that. Every tile the city is on is automatically worked. That's it. You expand your city, those tiles are then worked as well. It's simple, it just makes sense in my head. Like, I know that you could build out fields and stuff, but this one here is just like, oh, you have a city in the middle and those ones will kind of look like suburbs, and it just makes sense in terms of the landscape for me. So what I want to be doing, I was want to look around. Now you'll see that these ones here, these are more plains, and I can mouse over them in the bottom left there. You'll see that grassland, a total output of those 3, because 1 it's plains and 2 it's grassland. Compared to these ones here, it's 1 from a forest and there's 3 because there's a whole lot of different types of influence from the forest from that. We've got some ruins here, which we'll come to in a moment. This one here is a spices deposit. It's a luxury resource. And if we have a city on it, then we get actually 5 happiness. That's what that thumbs up is. And we also get 50% plus of food production on that city. Another one here is a black dust anomaly. And this generates a whole lot of science and money as well. We've got another spices deposit down here. And actually looking at this part of the map here, this has a good mix of money, science, manufacture, and food. This one here, especially in the middle, because the river's running through it, it gets an extra bonus up to 4. So what we might do is we might say build the settlement here. Now we're not actually going to get too much done this first episode. I'll make them hopefully a bit shorter. I'll aim for 20 minutes. This first episode will probably be a bit longer. What I should point out also is that each army, this is an army here with 3 units, has movement points. You can move 4 spaces per turn. I'm explaining everything, especially if you've never seen the game before. But I think it's going to be good so we can get into it, and as things progress, we'll be making turns every minute. Moving through these forests though costs 2 movement. Down the very bottom left there it says move costs 2, compared to the plains which are just 1. But our guys should be able to reach there in 1 turn and build a settlement on that position. Alright, we have built a settlement. I'm going to turn off all those production indicators now. We get an awesome depth of field effect. When I zoom in, you get this lovely blur as well. And so this is Leslie. I could rename that if I wanted to. And currently, we've taken this region for ourselves. And so this is our first region of the game, which is pretty neat. If we look up here, this is a beautiful way of describing what our total manufacture of all the different resources would be. So you've got your food, industry potential, that's an interesting way of putting it, science, dust, the currency, and then influence. Now the cool thing about it is that there's city tiles, these are the tiles that we're on around here, and that's what the total productions are. It's this one here. Then we've got some modifiers, so production's eating up 2 of the food, which makes sense. We're getting 22 extra gold per turn because of our palace, but we're losing 10 because of the upkeep. But we also have one population. And this is what I love about the interface. Even though when it's on the small version, it only takes up half the screen, everything that you need to know is displayed in front of you, or it's in a beautifully displayed menu. It all fits together really, really well. We have our city information all up in this one panel, and our people are content. They're just happy. That's all right. We've got one person, and over time, as excess food gets produced, it's going to fill this bar up, and in 3 turns, another person will be born. And what we can do with those extra populations, we can do certain things. We can use one to build another settler. Pardon me, got a case of the burps. Another settler to go plant another city. We can, every 2 that we get, we're allowed to build a borough street, which is essentially an expansion. If I build one here, it would take in 3 more tiles. We'll see one of those pretty soon. But we can also move the worker to different areas of production. And instead of saying a worker to move that one tile, we can do it all from this menu, and he will produce an extra whatever that number is in there. So for example, if I put him into here, it'll produce another 4, taking it up to 16. And at the moment, I'm going to leave it on food just so we can get a couple of people. And then once we've got a couple of people, we can then put them into other areas as well. Now down the bottom here, we've got available construction. The couple of buildings here, we've got, there's 4 buildings that we could build. There's 2 different units, and then there's salt in the earth, which essentially burn the place. I don't want to do that. It's our capital. So we've got either seed storage, which is a building that allows us to generate 10 extra food during the summer season, which is a great time to point out. There is summer and winter. Summer's a lot longer. And down the bottom right here, above the end turn button, between 21 and 41 turns. That's just brilliant. You don't know. It's like Banished, if you've played that. It makes sense. You don't know when winter's knocking on your door. It's just gonna happen. You know roughly. So in roughly 21, well, somewhere between 21 and 41 turns, winter will come. And it will last generally somewhere between 5 and 20 turns. And winter has really negative effects, very low production, very low vision, very low movement speed. But summer's beautiful, bountiful time. So we've got, we were in the city here, I could make it 10 extra food during summer. It's going to take 7 turns to build it. I'm pointing with my finger. I can't do that because it's 75 production. And then also on top of the 10%, we actually get an extra 15% of whatever we have. We've also got the Founders Memorial, which takes a little less to build, but I think it'd actually be a quite good one to build first because it doesn't take very long and it only can be built once. But it just gives a bonus on everything. And I think that's just great to get out because at the start with, I think having a little bit of everything quickly after 5 turns would be good. I'll put it into the queue. And then I can even queue it now. After that, I'll put in the seed storage. And over time, in 12 turns, that one will be done. There's another one there, which is sewer system. Increases approval and once they're happy, and gives you some influence once they're happy. But I'm fine just leaving it with how it is at the moment. So that's the construction. We've got a queue. We have a hero, and our hero can either lead an army or he can govern a city and give bonuses to that. We're not going to do that. I haven't actually done that yet. Now the thing is, when you do that, he's locked into doing that for a minimum of 5 turns of changing that or choosing what he's done. So I'm not in a hurry to switch him into that. We'll leave him out for a while. And then down here would be any extra units if we had them. Right. Take a breather. Oh. What's next? We got, I can pop this open here, that little notification menu. We discovered a new minor faction. So remember at the very start, I said there would be 3 races, and we can go to this chart here and see there's 2 other ones that we haven't discovered yet. I can left click to go into these special menus and right click to instantly jump out of them. Just beautiful. Minor factions are special races within the game that are very important. I think I've underestimated how important these guys are in my first game. These are giant, powerful ogres. I won't read all the text, by the way. Some of them are quite long, and I won't read them out. All of them especially. Simple-minded, but humble and withdrawn. Their size and shape shows that they're well-suited to heavy labour and digging pets. They look pretty ugly, if I'm going to say something. Now, they've got a special unit, a rumbler. They've got life, attack, speed, defense, damage, initiative. Initiative is how quick they are to fight, and that one's very low. Like, I think my hero, if I jump out, my hero's going to have an initiative of, 26. These guys will have an initiative of 38, yeah. These guys are pretty dumb to the party. But what the advantage of these guys is there's a thing called an assimilation. Now, if I click on this, I can see that these guys are in my area. They've got 1 village, and it's this thing over here. I can go and conquer it. there's a couple of different ways. I need to pacify it, not essentially conquer. I can pacify it by bribing them or doing a quest for them. If I do that, that village will become on my side. And at the moment it's hostile, and every now and then they'll probably send out units to try and get me. Come back here. If I pacify it, and that village is on my side, then I get access to building their units. I can take them into war, essentially. The other cool bonus is, if I get all of the towns of a special race, I can jump into this screen, we'll come back to it in a moment, and I can assimilate them, which is essentially means I control them. And at the moment, I could only take one, and I only know of one, which is alright. And if I did that, then I get another bonus. 5% building production cost reduction per pacified Urka's village on cities. That's a mouthful to say, but lower cost buildings. Pretty neat. What is this symbol? Oh, it's showing me the different resources. Wow. I would find that so useful. I didn't realize that's what that panel was. Those 4 symbols there. There's lots of spice in this area. That is a luxury resource? Oh, it is. We'll come to those in a moment. Yeah, we're just going to be learning so much. But I'm going for this if you've never seen the game before. But then we'll be playing one where we'll just jump in and it should be loads and loads of fun. So hopefully we can take those, we'll do a quest for them. And so talking about quests, this game has a very detailed quest system. Not just like Pacify Village, but there'll be factional quests, like, especially to do with our race, which I've completely, is it Windwalkers? Yeah, I forgot what they were called. We have none, but we'll see them in a moment. So we can come to the Empire Management screen, see some details about ourselves, how much influence we got, our overall approval. We can look at our stockpiles of strategic resources and luxury resources, which we can mine or receive from doing things. And they can be used for, these can be used for building stuff, these can be used for trading. And luxury resources, when in bulk, you can use them as like a modifier or a bonus. So in my last campaign, I had lots of excess gold production. Not gold the money, gold the resource. And I was using it as a booster, and it was lowering all the... It was halving the upkeep for all my cities and gave me loads of money. Every 20 turns, there's a plan that you can implement. We'll see that in a while, but just so you know, I need to get a whole lot of influence to get some pretty awesome bonuses. Show any trade routes, I've got none, and overall bonuses. And then there's a screen here for all the charts. What else we've got is our city list, so we can see all the cities we've got. They've got the resource screen. Research screen. Oh, we need to pick one, actually, because we're always researching. At the moment, we're producing 9. There's a couple of researched already. We've got the seed storage and the sewer system. And actually, I have no idea what we should get to start with, thinking about it. Oh, actually, search pay would be great. Improving the search on ruins, that we're going to go around the map in a moment, and we'll find lots of ruins left over. And getting this, it'll take 4 turns. Wait. It'll take 4 turns, but it means that we're going to better chances of finding stuff in those ruins, which are pretty neat. Now, actually, I can dismiss that now. There is a whole lot of stuff to research, and if I zoom out, it comes in 6 ages. Yeah. The way to unlock new ages is just by having a certain number of production in the first one. So this one here, I'm pretty sure I need 9. I need 9 technologies, and then I can get access to number 2. But what's going to happen is, everyone that I research is going to increase its nominal cost, which means that it's like a base cost. So this might cost a certain amount, 28, but it's like on top of... It's hard to describe. But as things go on, things are going to get more and more expensive. Even the simple stuff. Not just these are not at fixed rate. If I research this one will be more expensive compared to if I did it in the other order. Hopefully that makes sense. We've already seen the quest menu. There's all your heroes. We'll look at it in a moment. Military screen as well. And then the diplomacy. So last thing we'll look at before we click the next turn button, we'll move our stuff and get into it, is the heroes. We can inspect them. I've only got 1. I have no idea how to get more, actually. Do I have to buy them? I have no idea. They've got experience and levels, and they've got levels, and they've got a whole skill tree. And you can look at all these spells based on their class, based on common hero stuff, or their faction. And they've got equipment, and you can get new equipment for them, you can outkit them, and you can do these with normal units as well. This game has so much potential. I have enjoyed every moment I've had with it. It's been so much fun. And what I'm going to do is we're going to call the first episode, we're going to end it up here. And in the next episode, what we're going to do is we'll move our hero around, go to some of these ruins, which are those sparkling yellow things, and then we will go on to the next turn and we'll start exploring out. But I hope that you've liked what you've seen of Endless Legend. It's a pretty awesome game. I've really enjoyed it, even though we've essentially done nothing. The amount of choice it gives you, but also how streamlined it is as well. I've really enjoyed playing it. The 5 hours I put in, I eventually had to say to myself, okay, I gotta stop this campaign, I gotta go film the one for the channel. And now we'll play this one. I can't wait to get into it with you guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.